Hi, I started with image number 289 from Tim Ferriss's OpenSea account with this Cockpunch character. I started with an image prompt that uses the image as its basis. I was not incredibly happy with these, so I moved on to another prompt. I was pretty happy with this one, so I upscaled that one and continued on. That was upscaled. Wasn't real happy with how the face came out, so I tried to do another upscale, which you'll see further down as I scroll. Eliminated the image, but started working on my own prompt to come up with some unique options based on the original character. Wasn't real happy with any of these, but I do like this one in the bottom. While I'm not happy that Midjourney put it like a photo frame on a wall, I can work with that in Photoshop. Moving on to another prompt, I came up with these guys. I like this guy in the top right. So I've done some variations and ultimately liked number 4 here in the bottom. So I've upscaled number 4. A couple more prompts that I wasn't incredibly happy with the results. I just don't care for them. They look kind of janky. Again, as we start to get down here, I'm starting to get a little more interested in what I'm getting with the prompts I have put in. I'm starting to get more detail, more information in the image, and get down here to something I like. They look a little too human, but I do kind of like this one. So I've tried some variations on that. Ultimately decided I'm not going to upscale any of those and move on to some new prompts. So I try again with a little more cartoonish take on these and really like this guy with the smashed helmet. So I work with him and do some variations. You can see my variations here. I do some additional variations. I upscale number 2. Ultimately, I liked him the best out of what I came up with in the variations. A different take, I was really trying to get some glow on these weapons, and it's just sometimes difficult to do in Midjourney. So I kept working on the prompt to get there, and you'll see that further down. But don't do anything with those. I continue working here, and I am happy with this one. And this one's interesting. I don't like that he's missing an arm, so I try some variations. I do upscale that one. I wasn't happy with the variations and ultimately not happy with any of these. None of them have an arm, so I'm just going to move on. This is the second set of variations on the one above, but you can see he's not holding the handle here. This weapon looks a little janky and he's missing an arm. This one's missing a handle, and I just wasn't happy with the rendering of the weapon here and the weird kind of little bitty eye on the helmet. So I just move on. These were some additional variations. Out of all these, I kind of liked this one, but decided just to move on. I changed my prompt and started to get something looking way too human. So I just start over here. Now I'm getting back to something more interesting to me. Again, getting more interesting. I really like this guy here in the corner, and you can see that I'm actually starting to get some of the glow on weapons now that I was looking for. Um, Additional variations of these. I'm not sure why it doesn't show on the button that I did variations, but I did variations and ultimately upscaled one of these guys, which you'll see below. This continues further, but I didn't really like where this was headed, so I just started over again on the prompt. this is the one I upscaled from what you saw above. And then changed my prompt again, went back to the original image to see if anything I'd learned on these other prompts was something I would like. I'm not really happy with any of those. So I remove the image and get these guys. And I really kind of like this guy here. So I've upscaled him. You can see that I'm getting more consistency on the weapons now with some glow. I like this guy. I would kind of like this guy, but ultimately only upscale this one. Again, another take on this. I really like this one down here. So I've upscaled him, and I kind of like this one. So I wanted to see if number one could become anything I like. Ultimately, decided not to use any of those. So I move on again, and going through these, I like this one. I like the lighting and the effect. So I do some variations. Out of all the variations, this one, I'm not real happy with the head. This one, um, also to do with the head, this one looks the best to me, even though the weapon is a little off. I like the rest of the image well enough. And again, not real happy with the head on this one. So I upscale number 4 and move on to a new prompt. And what's really interesting is I keep referencing a green-headed rooster and I keep getting blue, but I'm okay with that. I really like this guy here. So I've upscaled him, as you can see here. Then I just try a completely new prompt to see what I get. This is a prompt that actually takes all of the, I had to add a little extra, but basically takes all the features that Tim had included on OpenSea that went with number 289 and added some of the Midjourney prompts to this. These are kind of interesting, but I really like this one. So I've upscaled that to work with. This one, again, I'm working with the prompts that are the features listed on number 289 on OpenSea. I kind of like this guy, just a chunky little chicken. And then started to get creative again. I meant to say Tim Ferriss, it came out Time Ferriss. So these are actually kind of cool though. So I've kept this one and upscaled. This time I did get it right with Tim Ferriss as a cock punch rooster warrior. And this is what Midjourney thinks that would look like. So I've selected this one out of the group to take further. And then I just go in a new direction, thinking more of a wasteland style rooster, completely different from the original number 289. But I really like these two. So I do some variations and ultimately pick one of those to upscale. Let's see, upscale number 4. Try again to see what I get. And I really like this guy. So I've upscaled him. Try something different and it doesn't work at all. So I just forget about it and move on. And you can see here all the images I've upscaled out of the selection. And I don't just take these straight out of Midjourney to post. I like to work on them a little bit in Photoshop or Lightroom. And so I will click on these. I'll save the image and you can see those all here in my downloads. And I will have another video that walks through what I do once I get these out of Midjourney. Thanks.